The pace of artificial intelligence, well, it's not just fast, is it? It's really kind of astonishing.
Absolutely.
And what we're seeing, it feels like more than just a tech race. It's shaping up to be a geopolitical one, really shaping our future. So today, we're doing a deep dive into that, the urgency, the relevance, and actually a big thanks to senior technical writer Kurt Robbins for flagging this.
Right.
He brought our attention to, the new Trump AI plan and this whole ongoing push for the U.S. to stay ahead of countries like China.
Yeah. China's making huge strides. It's a real competition.
Definitely threatening that narrow lead the U.S. has.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we've got, well, a stack of sources we're going to unpack.
Yeah.
They really shine a light on this intensifying race for AI supremacy, as they call it, between the U.S. and China.
Okay.
We'll look at President Trump's expected AI action plan. And maybe most crucially, we'll get into that complex balance, between pushing innovation super fast, but also thinking about public safety, ethics. All that comes with powerful tech.
Yeah, it's a lot to juggle.
Totally. So our mission, really, is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights for you, our listener, so you can walk away feeling, informed about this incredibly fast-moving, high-stakes situation.
Okay, so let's dive in. Looking at these sources, what's the first thing that jumps out? This intense high-stakes game at the top levels. What's actually happening as the U.S. tries to, lock down its lead in AI, especially against China? And how's President Trump getting involved directly?
Well, the report suggests he's planning some pretty significant concrete actions. He's expected to sign several AI-related executive orders, which, could really reshape the whole regulatory scene.
Okay, executive orders.
Yeah. And on top of that,
Yeah.
he plans to actually lay out his AI action plan during a keynote speech. It's at an AI summit, apparently, near the White House.
Right.
So these moves that position very directly as a kind of forceful response, an acceleration of this race for AI supremacy. The drive, as the sources put it, is all about ensuring American dominance here.
Yeah.
They see AI leadership as, essential for national security of the economy.
So it's a very top-down push.
Very direct, yeah.
Top-down push.
Which brings us to something really fascinating the sources point out, this critical tension, right?
Mm-hmm.
On one side, this huge pressure to beat China in the AI race.
Yeah.
But then on the other, these growing worries about the potential harms of the tech itself.
Yeah.
Feels like a real balancing act, maybe even like an inflection point.
Absolutely. And that tension, it's really brought into sharp focus by a pretty stark warning. It comes from Sam Altman, the guy widely credited with pushing AI, especially generative AI like ChatGPT, into the public eye.
Right, Altman, what's he warning about?
He's warned about an impending significant fraud crisis, specifically because of this tech.
A fraud crisis, wow.
Yeah. He points to the very real concern that AI can now mimic human voices so compellingly, to the point where it sounds exactly like your kid or your parent.
Oh, that's chilling. It is. He's talking about sophisticated, realistic voice cloning being used for these urgent calls that are basically ransom attacks.
Ransom attacks using cloned voices.
Exactly. And he actually took this warning directly to the Federal Reserve, which, really underscores how serious he thinks this is for the financial system, for individual security.
That is a powerful warning, especially coming from Altman. Given his position, leading AI development, what are the sources saying about the implications of him warning the Fed directly? Does that change the conversation around AI safety?
It absolutely does. And yeah, it raises a lot of eyebrows. The sources kind of highlight the irony, maybe. Or perhaps it's a sign the field is maturing. That someone right at the cutting edge is now the one urging caution. And urging to the people holding the purse strings, basically.
Yeah, that's significant.
It signals these aren't just, theoretical worries anymore. They're coming from inside the house.
Right.
From people who really understand the capabilities.
Right.
So, as New York Times tech reporter Mike Isaac puts it, there's this delicate balance that needs to be struck. He acknowledges the legitimate concerns around AI tech just getting better so much faster.
Yeah.
Especially mimicking voices, from the president to your grandmother.
Yeah.
Makes deepfakes incredibly real.
Scary stuff.
But then Isaac also brings up the counter-argument from the companies themselves.
Yes, the don't regulate us argument.
Pretty much. He notes a lot of their claims are, frankly, very self-serving. When they argue they need free rein to beat China, and that, quote, any sort of regulation will rein us in a way that could be harmful to Americans.
Right. Innovation versus safety. They frame it as an either.
Exactly. A zero-sum game.
It's such a classic argument, isn't it? Don't regulate us or you'll kill innovation. But, I mean, when you have someone like Sam Altman waving this huge red flag about a fraud crisis, it makes you really wonder about the practical side. How do you strike that balance? Especially when different governments might have totally different ideas about it. Sounds like a real philosophical divide between administrations.
There certainly seems to be, yeah. And our reports draw a pretty stark contrast between the AI regulatory philosophies, Biden versus Trump.
Okay, how do they compare?
Well, under President Biden, the approach was described as, let's say, a lot more balanced, a little more restrictive for these companies.
More restrictive how?
Things like focusing on transparency requirements for AI models, encouraging early safety testing, trying to build in guardrails as the tech develops.
Makes sense.
But companies like Meta, Google, OpenAI,
Right.
they really didn't like it. They were apparently chafing at what they thought would be harms to their growth, basically saying it slowed them down, cost too much.
Okay, so that was Biden's approach. What about the proposed Trump administration approach?
Well, the expectation, based on these sources, is that it will give AI companies a lot more runway. More freedom to do what they want with the products they're building.
More runway how? What does that look like specifically?
Specifics mentioned include more tax breaks to build the data centers they need.
The infrastructure.
Which is hugely expensive.
Hugely expensive, energy hungry, but crucial for AI training, right?
Yeah.
And also fewer sort of reining in a lot of the safety stuff.
Fewer safety guardrails.
That's the implication. It could mean, less rigorous testing before deployment, fewer mandates for transparency in how models are built, maybe even rolling back some existing voluntary safety commitments. So the clear takeaway, really, despite what CEOs might say publicly about safety being a priority, is that under this proposed framework, safety is taking a bit more of a back seat. Speed and competitive advantage seem to be in the front seat. That phrase, safety taking a back seat, that's pretty stark. Are there any voices in these reports, maybe from the administration side, offering a different perspective? Or is it mostly just the companies saying, let us run free? Like, what specific things give that win-at-all-costs accusation so much weight? Is it just the tax breaks and fewer rules?
Well, the win-at-all-costs framing, comes directly from those proposed policy changes. The argument from the administration's perspective, as the sources presented, isn't necessarily safety doesn't matter. It's more that the current rules are too slow, too cumbersome.
Okay.
That America simply has to innovate faster than its rivals. So the tax breaks, the reduced oversight, they're seen as necessary accelerators to keep that global lead.
So less about ignoring safety, more about prioritizing speed for leadership.
That seems to be the framing, yes. And the specific details, like really emphasizing these massive data center build-outs with tax incentives, that shows a direct financial push to scale up infrastructure fast.
Yeah.
It suggests prioritizing that foundational capacity over maybe immediate, super strict safety rules.
Right. And connecting this back to China.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To connect this back to those, very legitimate concerns about the race with China, our reports highlight a key strategic difference. China is apparently developing open source models.
Open source, meaning the code is public.
Often, yeah. The core code, the data might be more accessible, more modifiable. And crucially, these models basically have no guardrails around AI compared to something like ChatGPT, which is more closed, more proprietary.
So if China's models are wide open.
It puts immense pressure on American companies. They're genuinely worried about losing that edge, not just in what the AI can do, but how fast they can deploy it.
Okay, I see the pressure.
So President Trump's stance, it appears, is basically, if the U.S. wants to stay ahead in tech, we need to push the boundaries here. It suggests a willingness to accept maybe higher immediate risks to lock down that long-term tech supremacy.
A strategic necessity, as they might see it.
In a very competitive world, yes.
Yeah.
That's the argument presented.
Okay, we've talked a lot about the big picture, the strategy, the geopolitics, this race. It's definitely shaping the future, but let's bring it down to the ground for a minute. For our listeners, students, teachers, people worried about their jobs, their finances. What does this AI revolution actually mean for everyday life? Where's our power in all this?
Yeah, that's really the great debate happening right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not just among tech people and policymakers, but right across the American labor force. The sources definitely emphasize this legitimate concern that if you're not learning how to use AI and prompts properly.
Well, prompts being the instructions you give the AI.
Exactly. The questions, the commands to get what you want. If you don't learn that, the fear is you're going to be left behind.
Like past step shifts, learn the new tool, or
Risk becoming obsolete, yeah. It's got echoes of the Industrial Revolution, personal computers, adapt or get left behind. Companies are clearly gearing up for a future where AI is baked into everything, automating tasks, augmenting what humans do.
So for individuals, the power lies in mastering it as a tool.
That seems to be the message. Learn to use it. Don't just worry about being replaced by it. But, and this is a big but, the reports also stress that AI can go wrong, sometimes in really weird ways.
Oh, wrong how?
They talk about hallucinations.
Yeah.
Where the AI models literally just make up information.
Make stuff up, like confidently.
Confidently present false data as if it's fact. Yeah. And a big reason is that, honestly, a lot of the technologists don't know how these models work entirely.
Wait, really? The creators don't fully understand that?
Especially the huge language models, yeah.
Yeah.
Their inner workings can still be kind of a black box.
Wow.
So that balance we keep mentioning is really key here for everyone, not just the scientists. It means learning how to use AI's power, sure, but also being super critical, aware of its limits, its potential to just be flat out wrong.
Okay, critical awareness is key. And that leads right into another layer of complexity, maybe the most politically charged one. The president stated concern about, quote, woke ideologies influencing AI messages. He reportedly wants to make sure woke liberal ideologies aren't shaping the answers we get from AI. What do the sources say about the risks of trying to, control AI's ideological balance like that, especially practically speaking?
It's a huge point, and yeah, a critical risk the sources definitely dig into. The proposed executive order, according to these reports, gets specific. It apparently includes things like no mentions of DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion,
Okay.
and no mentions of climate change or environmental dangers.
So just removing those topics entirely.
That seems to be the idea.
Yeah.
But the crucial thing to grasp here, as the sources point out, is that taking a stance by excising that entirely is a political stance.
Right. Removing something isn't neutral. It's an active choice.
Exactly. It's not a neutral act. By trying to define non-biased, by excluding certain topics, you inherently introduce a different kind of bias. You're shaping what the AI is allowed to know or talk about.
And that raises some big questions down the line.
Huge questions, particularly for you, the listener, thinking ahead. When the next Democratic administration comes in, what their sort of counterbalance that will look like.
Mm-hmm. How will they define non-biased?
Will they just try to put those topics back in? Define bias differently? The sources stress that figuring out what AI systems are allowed to talk about, how to even try for neutrality, that's been a massive area of study for technologists, philosophers, ethicists for years now. It's not simple.
Not just flipping a switch to impartial.
Definitely not. And the implications are profound.
Right.
What information AI gets trained on, what it's allowed to say, that affects everything. Educational tools, news summaries, public discourse.
This whole conversation, it feels like it's moving so incredibly fast, almost hard to keep control. Even just in our own minds, it really makes you think. In a world that's becoming more and more artificial, maybe the things that are real become even more important.
Precisely. And that, I think, leads us to a final, maybe provocative thought for you to chew on after this deep dive. Given this breakneck pace of AI development, and now these political stances being taken on what non-biased information even is, how are we as a society going to ensure the integrity of knowledge, of critical thinking, especially when the very data AI learns from and the answers it gives back could potentially be shaped by these competing ideologies?
Right. What's a responsibility in that?
Exactly. What responsibilities do we all have as individuals navigating this increasingly complex information landscape, where the line between fact, opinion, and maybe even AI just making stuff up those hallucinations gets blurrier and blurrier?
How do you filter for truth, for reliability?
Yeah. In a future where information might be curated or even manufactured to fit certain viewpoints, how do you as a discerning person figure out what's real?
Definitely something profound to mull over.